Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 52.
52.
In Espanol, come on.
52.
Of the Calypso Cigar Review podcast. I am Brandon Luna.
I'm Randy Rankin.
And we have a special guest today.
Pedro Haley.
Pedro's back. Only took him like 30 episodes or something, right?
The son of rock and roll.
God, that's true.
Although Kirk wanted him to be the brother of rock and roll, we didn't understand that if your dad's the father of rock and roll, how would you be the brother of rock and roll?
Yeah, that
doesn't make any sense.
The son.
But then again, he lives in Arizona. The son probably baked his brain.
So Mickey Gilley could be the cousin of rock and roll?
Yeah, because of Jerry Lee Lewis.
Yeah, possibly.
All right, that's enough of that.
So today we're reviewing a new cigar for us. We haven't even really heard a whole lot about this. This is the Dissident Soap Box. And this comes by way of one of our listeners, Phil Sullivan, who's Phil from Chicago.
Phil from Chicago. Thank you, Phil.
On Stogie Friends.
My band off.
He had smoked it and asked if I had, and I said no, and he contacted the rep for us and got him to send us some cigars. So
very cool.
How cool is that?
Thank you, Phil from Chicago.
They have several different sizes. This one is the Rave, which is the 5.5 by 52, and obviously the name is Soapbox. They have the Rant, the Rave, and the Tirade. So,
and we're always on our soapbox. So
exactly.
This should be
yeah.
Appropriate.
So we'll see what this turns out to be here. The makeup on this particular cigar is the wrapper's Nicaraguan Jalapa. The binder is Nicaraguan Double Esteli. Filler is Nicaraguan Esteli, Condega, and Jalapa. So sounds pretty
very
tasty.
Yeah, actually, it does.
Yeah.
Our Monte Cristo.
Sounds like
cigar scissor donated to us.
All the Hall of Fame members are there.
Yeah.
It seemed a little dry. It was very crunchy.
Yeah.
I cut it. Used the Royal Gold lighter that was donated to us. Oh, and Pedro was talking. I didn't want to interrupt. This is the Monte Cristo cutter donated to us from Altadis and Eddie Gavito.
I won one of those.
Yes, you did.
And it was when you won one that we whined and pissed and moaned and groaned.
And he gave you one?
Yeah.
That was, Jesus. I was really happy to win that.
Cold draws.
Flavor on the cold draw.
Cold draw's tasty.
Yeah.
A little bit of spice. A little sweetness.
Mm-hmm. A lot of sweetness.
What are you thinking first couple puffs there, Pedro?
Well, lots of pepper.
Oh yeah,
right off the bat, but you can tell it's for sure a Nicaraguan cigar. I'm actually looking forward to it.
This ought to be good.
And this is your first cigar today.
It's my first cigar of the day, indeed.
The retrohal's got pepper, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And boy, look at that smoke coming from both ends.
That's what she said.
That was a terrible one.
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pepper. It's kind of sweet pepper.
Yeah, that's spicy on the retrohale.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice though. Off to a good start.
A lot of flavor.
I think this is going to be an ass kicker.
Yeah.
I think so.
So what have you been up to, Pedro? We haven't talked to you in a while.
No. Well, let's see. Just been teaching music, spreading the gospel.
Gospel of music.
The gospel of music to my students, and you guys had the opportunity to well, I talked to you guys about what happened over the holidays. What was it, between Christmas and Thanksgiving?
Middle of December.
Yeah.
Early December maybe.
Had a run-in with Brian Setzer, and it was a really exciting moment.
Yeah,
and,
we'll get the full scoop on that one.
Yeah.
We told a little bit about it, but we want to hear the whole thing from you. But let's save that. Let's make that a tease. Let's get into something else.
Okay.
Let's call that a tease.
Well, other than that, I'm just smoking lots of cigars, and I am just falling in love with J.D. Howard and Four Kicks.
We just ordered it. They'll be in the store this week.
They have surpassed the Headley Grange for sure. I mean, I thought Four Kicks was great, and then I had the J.D. Howard, and that was. I can't put my finger on what exactly it is about what particular flavor is really hitting me.
Do you like the boldness? Do you like?
No, it's not that. It's like there's something. A quality that is concerned with cake.
Okay.
Okay.
I like cake.
I have yet to have the J.D. Howard, but I have had the Four Kicks and the Headley Grange. And between the two, I actually like the Headley Grange a little better, but that's me.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Pedro gave me a J.D. Howard. I really liked it. And then the rep was in last week. You were here when the rep was here.
See, I bought a.
I
bought
thought that was a Tarano guy.
Yeah, but you're also the Trino guy left, and then the Four Kicks guy came in.
I wasn't here when he got here.
No, because I pointed to you. I said that's the Four Kicks guy, and you nodded, but you were talking to somebody, so I don't think you were paying attention.
I'm sorry.
To me. You're ignoring me like always, Pedro.
Well, I should have hit that guy up big time.
Or was that you that was here when the Four Kicks guy was here?
You get your Mexicans confused. I think it was me.
That has nothing to do with it.
There was somebody brown with glasses.
Which one's
I don't
mowing
know.
my yard? I forget about that.
Oh my
Did
God!
I pay the right one for the yard? Yeah. That's all
Dick.
One of you was here, and I thought it was Pedro because he talks about the J.D. Howard so much, and I could have sworn it was him. But I'm old.
Who knows? Yeah, I mean, I just had I bought a box of the Four Kicks in the Corona size, and man, I went through probably the first 6 or 7 cigars in that box. All of them had burn problems, and just at that point, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna let them sit, give them some time.
Which, I got a funky burn at the beginning. We'll monitor that and see if it
Yeah,
corrects
it's
itself.
a nice ash, but the burn is not sharp at all. At
The
this
draw
point.
is fantastic.
Yeah, the draw is really good, and it's spicy on the tongue. My tongue is on fire right now.
And while, retro bit me that time. While Pedro hasn't been on the show in a few months, he's still been coming around.
Yeah.
And we had a fun day. The first day we were open this year on the 2nd because we were closed on the 1st.
Yeah.
And Brandon decided to work from here. And I was working here.
Oh, of course.
And
yes, yeah.
Pedro called and said, what are you guys doing? And said, not much. And Brandon's working up here, so he brought his guitar. And we had a jam session for, 6 hours and smoked cigars. And that was a fun day. We need to do that again.
Yep,
Yeah.
Nate was here too.
Nate was here. That's right.
Yeah.
Hey, Nate.
Nate.
I forget about Nate.
And I brought the gear. I wanted to come.
Founder of the feast.
And
Today.
do some
Yes.
practice, but what we ended up doing is singing a bunch of different songs.
Some songs your dad did, some old country Hank Williams songs. And
Yeah, it was fun.
that was fun. Need to do that
That was
again.
good times.
I
And
re-
we'll record it and sell it for $1 million.
Oh, of course, absolutely.
After much sweetening.
If all of our listeners would buy 25 copies each, we might make some money.
25. Yeah.
If we get 40,000 subscribers times 25, that would be amazing.
That would be mine.
There you go.
It's a good idea, man.
Remember when Willie Nelson got in trouble with the IRS and he recorded the IRS
Right.
tapes?
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that. That was funny.
I'd like to do that.
Why do you go with the IRS?
No,
Get in trouble with the IRS.
Just
to record something like
the
that?
but money in my bank account tapes.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Yeah.
There you go. It's an idea
The Randy Whiskey Fund. That would be a good fund.
for Randy.
Well, I would share. I shared that $125 bottle of Lafroig with you, so come
That's
on.
true.
Wow.
It was given to me.
Yeah, I was gonna say he didn't pay.
I still could have hoarded it out
$125.
for myself.
Yeah, it was very good.
You know what? I have a good friend of mine. You met him, Tom. Is my cousin-in-law, and he's a Scotch connoisseur, and he's been telling me that the Japanese are starting to make some very good Scotch.
I've heard that
I've
as
heard
well.
And bourbon,
Yeah.
I've heard. They're doing
And,
both. Of course, they can't call it bourbon, but
Yeah, they
and
can't call it
Scotch
Scotch.
either.
Yeah.
And he has a bottle of Scotch. Of course, I don't partake, but I've been told that it's a nice treat. Definitely different than like a traditional Scottish,
Right. Hot single malt. Yeah.
lowland or highland, whatever.
Speyside,
I mean,
yeah.
it's
one more.
his infatuation with Scotch is probably the same thing as ours with cigars, except I think his might be a little more expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you
I know I've got expensive whiskey taste myself. I can't afford it,
Wow.
but if I could, I would.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm
I mean,
kind of in
I've
the same boat.
You know
now.
what else has just stunned me in price? Maybe it's because I stopped drinking 3 years ago, but I never bought bottles of tequila anyway. I only drank tequila in bars, but
Tequila's
geez,
gotten very
holy
popular.
cow,
Yeah.
man! Are you kidding me? Just
Yeah.
regular bottles of tequila are
Yeah.
very expensive.
And they're, 7 or 8 years ago, they started the trend of tricking up vodka and making it cranberry vodka and
Yeah.
orange vodka and stuff.
That's because they realized vodka had no taste.
Right. Well, they're doing that with tequila now. They have like a jalapeno flavored tequila. That it's not.
Yeah.
They're just doing all kinds
They
of
don't
stuff.
need to do that
I've heard that
tequila.
that's the new thing is the jalapeno margarita.
Mm.
Does not sound good to me.
Yeah, I think I'll pass on that.
You want to pass on that one? But Anyway, so we had fun that day, Pedro. That was a good day.
I wish I had more time to do that.
We just don't get to see you that often anymore, and we miss hanging out with you, buddy.
Yeah, I moved to Fort Worth, which is
quite a haul from here.
well, it's we call it the DFW area, but we're still Fort Worth is still pretty far away. It's about
we're on the far north side of Dallas too.
Yeah.
Fort Worth
about
is west,
30
so it's a long ways.
30 miles away from here, and but I work in Dallas, so I actually come here.
You're usually here at least once a week.
More than I would have expected, but it's nice to always come in here and spend some time. I love my wife, but and it has nothing to do with this. I don't know why I said that.
Danger.
I was gonna say, I wish if I didn't live with her, I'd probably smoke inside of where I live.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Yeah.
But and it's yes, we are in Texas, but believe it, you guys up north,
we've had a rough winter.
It's cold here too.
We've had a rough winter.
And boy, I go outside and smoke a cigar, and I'm wrapped in a. I've got a parka, and it takes all the fun out of it.
Yeah.
Takes all the fun out of enjoying a cigar.
Saw a stat today that this was our 48th day so far this winter below freezing.
Yeah.
That's a lot for us.
That's a lot for Texas.
It's amazing. Yeah, I was speaking to a guy, a friend of mine today, lives up in New Jersey, and he's talking about how they're getting snowed out, and he can barely get his car out of the driveway and all of this stuff. So don't feel so bad for us.
True.
There's always
but
Arizona.
They expect it. We don't expect it.
Yeah. Yeah. But we should. It happens every year.
Yeah. Well, what'll happen is we'll have like a 2-year stretch where we don't get anything, so it kind of lulls us to sleep.
That's not
and then,
true.
Boom. Last year we had one snow day.
We get at least one good snow a year, and then every 2 to 3 years we get a freezing.
Yeah.
Where everything is frozen down, and people like this year
we've had 3 of them already this year.
Yeah, I couldn't even leave. My wife and I couldn't leave the house for 3 days.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, think about it though. 15 years ago, when I first moved here,
there was no
that
snow.
wasn't happening.
No. We got one.
It's global warming.
Once every
global colding. I don't know.
Groben
Globen. You don't drink, right?
Groben Claw. Anyway.
God, I just pulled that out of nowhere.
I was trying to say it, but I couldn't remember what the hell it was. Anyway.
Before I get sued by Def Leppard now.
It's a phrase.
Is it? I thought it was bullshit. I thought it was just made up.
It's a phrase, but it's still a phrase.
It's like running through the woods on fire or something was the translation, I think.
Something like that.
I don't know.
So anyway, this is tasty. The
first
burn
third.
is really not burning well.
My burn has corrected itself for the most part.
You know why my burn worked?
Why?
Because I
used a cedar spill. Mr. Cedar Spill.
Oh, will you please? Good thing. Thank you for bringing that up. Where did this word cedar spill come from?
That's a good question. I've been wanting to ask that myself.
Brandon? I heard you use that the other day, and I just
call them cedar strips and stuff like that.
That's what all the people that sell it, they call it cedar spills. So when you look at
researched why they call it that?
I can look it up right now. Okay. We have the internet. We have the technology.
Yeah, well, I'd like to, in all honesty, great, fine and dandy that's what the reps call them, but I'd like to know what the people who
likes to know the origin of things, right?
The people who make the cigars, what they call them.
Yeah, the origin thereof.
Yeah, cedar spills. And then I tried the trick about pulling it out a little bit and lighting it.
Yeah.
And
sorry, I'm a 4-year-old.
Both time I've done it, it's worked.
Yeah. Yeah, it works fine.
The only problem is that you guys tried it on an añejo.
Yeah.
And the añejo's got tape on it.
We didn't let it from the other end.
On the other end, yeah. It's only got tape on one end. Doesn't have tape on the other end.
Oh, because
didn't let it burn all the way.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I remember I asked about the tape on that episode.
Yeah.
But I was being sarcastic or facetious, not really sarcastic. Facetious is the word that should be used more often. People use sarcastic, and that's not the proper word. It's facetious.
I use facetious, but that's because
you're educated.
I've got a big, fat vocabulary that hasn't really helped me very much in any way, other than to just piss people off.
Right.
He's using big words around us.
Here comes that asshole that likes to use big words like esoteric and paradigm.
Here comes that guy that pontificates and shit.
He's got a pair of dimes. I told him he had 20 cents.
Okay. wait, you're
Thank you.
way to work on your feet there, my friend. All right.
See, I'm looking at
Bam.
Wikipedia, and it just says the traditional way to light a cigar is to use a cedar spill. A spill is a splinter or a slender piece of wood or twisted paper for lighting candles, lamps, campfires, or fireplaces.
Okay.
Okay, so that's an old school word. That's going
And it's
back.
Wikipedia, so you know it's accurate.
Of
Yep.
course, yeah.
You know.
And that was written by Blow Joe 538.
But you know, by the way, I have tried to correct data on Wikipedia,
Me too.
and it's hard to get into it to begin with. You know,
It-
to get access to correct something.
It took me, I had to apply, and then it took me they wanted to know what I was trying to correct. It was on a Wyatt Earp thing. It was on Wyatt Earp's Wikipedia page. And they had something completely wrong. And I told them, and I gave three sources for where I was getting my information. And they posted it, and a week later it was taken back off, and the other line was put back on.
Really?
Yeah. And you were saying some stuff with your dad. On your dad's page, you tried to correct.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yes.
And we didn't reference, for people who don't know, Pedro's dad is, of course, Bill Haley. Of Bill Haley and his Comets, Rock and Roll Hall of Famer, all around. The band and your dad are all.
The
Rock and
band
Roll
is now in the Hall of Fame. Yeah,
Yep. So,
Very
yes,
cool.
you tried to correct something on your dad's page. What
I
happened there?
did. Yeah.
And they didn't let you do it? That's
Oh,
ridiculous.
I couldn't even get in.
What kind of
Oh,
source
wow.
do you have, though, Pedro?
Yeah.
How do you
The
know?
source.
How do you know?
Oh man, I tried to correct something on that, but I've actually tried a couple of different things too concerning music
Yeah.
in different categories, and just to get access to do anything to it is really difficult.
Yeah, they've cleaned it up a lot, but the first couple of years it was out, boy, it was just a hodgepodge of stuff
Right.
on there. You were
Yeah.
kind of, they gave you enough to be dangerous, but they didn't give you the whole story.
Yeah, true story. So what do we think on the first third?
Boy, it's just a spicy bomb, and
It is, yeah.
And
Well, I find it was spicy, and the retro hell was spicy. Now it's calmed down, or at least
it's calmed down, but the flavor is just
my whatever my taste buds and everything have accustomed to it. I find it to be medium bodied. Maybe I'm just I like it. It's not a flavor bomb. I don't
Man, I'm
think.
getting a lot of flavor.
You are?
And
Yeah,
I
I'm
didn't get
thinking
any
it's a
flavor from
flavor
the
bomb.
last one we did,
Yeah,
but I'm getting a lot of flavor from this one.
yeah. This one's very meaty. And,
It's your first one. You're probably
spicy.
just so glad to have a cigar.
Well, maybe I'm just.
I'm just
Well, he's on the
so
fresh palate, though,
spoiled.
so yeah.
That's true. I was
So.
trying to give him a reason for not saying
Yeah.
that.
But I forgot to tell you that
Everybody's
I smoked,
different,
But
though.
I forgot to tell you that I smoked 15 cigars yesterday.
Oh, okay.
No, you did not. 15
It was like
cig-
12.
It
all
was-
out
it
in the
was only-
cold.
It was only like 8.
8. There you go.
Yeah, you've gone from like when I first met you, smoking really mild stuff and just like not even wanting to get into the heavy
That's not
stuff.
true.
Oh, Pedro, you called me one time. You're like, because you bought a 5-pack of that mooch, that Burger and Argenti mooch, and you called me to tell me like, you don't think that cigar's all that great? I'm like, yeah, it's a fine Connecticut. You're like, man, it's the tastiest cigar I've ever had in my life. And
Yeah.
now you're like, boom, you like much more flavorful stuff. than
Don
that.
Pepin and
Well, I still think Burger and Argenti. Like I had another Connecticut the other day after a long time, and I still thought it was.
It's a
great.
nice Connecticut, but
Yeah, but the little ones that I got, those things
Classico.
are
Yeah, those-
amazing
the
too.
Desflorado.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Desplorados, yeah, and
Have you had
oh
that
yeah,
cigar?
yeah. I
That's
mean,
good.
you're right. Like for example, like the K candles, those things would have been really they are strong cigars, but when I first started smoking, those things would have been overpowering to me.
yeah,
Yeah.
that just shows developing a
But
palate.
but I'm still a big Connecticut fan, and I more than anything else, I'm in search for the great Connecticut cigar. You know,
I still
that's the one.
I still respect Connecticut enough to where I do also. If a rep tells me this is going to be a great Connecticut, I look forward to it.
Yeah.
Most of the time they're wrong. Most of the time they're wrong, and it's
when I
not,
find
but-
a great Connecticut, I give you guys.
Yeah.
yeah, I liked that icon a lot.
That hammer and sickle
Hammer
icon
and sickle icon's good
was
stuff.
just came out of nowhere. But when I found out it's provenance, I realized that's why it's so good.
We're at the 20-minute mark, so we're going to take a little
Oh,
break here, and we'll come
I
back
didn't
for
know
the
that. You didn't tell me that.
we'll come back for the second third of the Soapbox by Dissident.
With Pedro Haley.
Special guest. All right, we're back for the second third of the Dissident Soap Box Rave with Pedro Haley.
With Pedro Haley.
So-
You know, the good thing about Pedro is we don't even have to pay him that much. He only asks for like $500 an appearance. It's really nice that he could do this for us.
Yeah.
No, he does it for free.
store
We
credit.
appreciate it. Yes.
He takes Monopoly
Yeah.
money. It's great.
This is just a nice flavor bomb. I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, it's tasty.
Yeah.
Got a lot of flavor. I'd say it's medium to
Yeah.
lean towards the full, but
It's
full flavored,
it'd be
medium bodied.
medium for me,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I do like it.
So when I think medium, there's two cigars that pop into my head as being just medium bodied, medium flavored. And that's the Flor de las Antillas and the Alec Bradley Family Blend. I consider
Wow.
those right in the middle. So I think this is stronger than both of those cigars.
La Flor de las Antillas, I consider a pretty strong
Yeah, a
cigar.
lot
I consider that medium too.
It's very medium. Almost
For
everybody I've
consider-
talked
when you
to.
compare it to other pepins like the Cuban Classic or the, even the Le Bijou,
Yeah.
I think the Le Bijou is a little heavier than
The
that.
Le Bijou is a strong cigar.
Yeah.
That's a
And
strong
when
cigar.
customers come in and want just a medium cigar, I usually recommend those two cigars.
You've
I
had
would
the
find-
Lancero on the.
On
Flor de las Antillas.
oh
I
yeah,
haven't had that one yet. I need to get some
yeah,
of
that
those.
was a treat.
Yeah, that's what I
Wow.
hear. I need to go ground up some of those.
Yeah. So yeah, I would definitely classify this as much stronger than either of those two cigars.
I could see that.
So no Esteban Carreras Creature Feature,
Nope, no, we're not sponsored by Esteban Carreras
even though
anymore.
I'm
So
wearing their shirt.
But it's but it's Oscar season.
It is Oscar season, yeah.
Let's talk.
So we
have
got-
you seen
yeah.
any Oscar movies?
I
You
have
got the
seen
list?
quite a few. Yeah, there's a bunch up for Best Picture now. They're doing the whole 10
Yeah, there's
Best
like
Picture
10 now,
things. So the Best Picture list. Let's see if you guys have seen any of these. American Hustle,
Nope.
Captain Phillips,
Yes. Yes.
Dallas Buyers Club,
Yes.
No.
Gravity,
No.
Her,
Yes.
No.
Nebraska,
Yes.
Philomena,
No.
Never heard of it.
12 Years a Slave,
No.
No.
Wolf of Wall Street.
No.
Okay, so we have a couple.
I've seen a couple. You've seen a couple.
Yeah, I've seen American Hustle. I've seen Gravity. I've seen Her. I've seen 12 Years a Slave.
Okay.
So
So what do you think of the two that you saw? I mean, are they justified in their nomination, or
Well, let's see. Nebraska was the guy who made that movie. I forgot the name of the director, but he did a movie with George Clooney that takes place in Hawaii.
yeah, I know what you're talking
The
about.
Dissidents or the
The
Residents,
Descendants or something like that,
The Descendants,
Yeah.
yeah. Those movies kind of creep up on you. You know, you walk out going, that was interesting, kind of weird, and then later on you're like, that was a pretty good movie. You know,
I like those kind of movies.
Yeah, I do too.
Does that to me.
Think
Bruce Stern. I've never been a real big fan of his.
He's a legend.
But he is great in this movie. But you know who's really good too is his son, the actor who portrays his son, who is a Saturday Night Live
Yeah, Will Forte,
actor,
right?
Will Forte.
Is it Will
yeah.
Forte? Wow.
And he's great in it. He's
Okay.
great in it.
Wow.
And what was the other one I saw? I've seen-
Captain Phillips.
I saw Captain Phillips like 2 nights ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think it's just a Tom Hanks vehicle, and it got nominated because it's got Tom Hanks.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you're just more of a popcorn movie, not really anything special.
It's
or-
a good movie. Year's best. Who knows? I haven't seen the other ones, but would I watch it again? No.
Yeah.
No, not really.
That's one thing we talked about earlier is that it seems like a lot of the Oscar stuff is stuff that you'd watch once. It's just, they tend to lean towards the deeper, hard movies that,
Right.
that have a, I guess dramatic, message or whatever.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
And that seems to be where they go. They don't really pick very light stuff for Oscars anymore. I mean, the last time I can remember something winning that was kind of light was Ghost. So that was a long time
Lion
ago.
King got nominated for
Yeah,
the Academy
yeah.
Award.
You know what?
They get away with the animated
Yeah,
stuff. That's how they do it. They get away with the nominating the animation movies.
In the local public radio station has a show where they have the local movie critics from different newspapers come in and talk, and several of them put in their top 10 lists a horror movie called The Conjuring.
I've heard. Yeah.
And-
Yeah, I dug that flick.
And I saw that. My wife and I saw it, and neither one of us really like horror movies. This movie was horrendous. I mean, in the best possible sense. I mean, it scared the bejesus out of both of us.
I dug it.
you
I thought
know.
it was a cool flick.
But I
And,
like this movie.
You would
I
like
love
it.
horror.
You
I
would
like
like
this.
it. You would
Okay.
like
Oh man, this thing
Very well
this-
made. The thing about it is it's one of those.
Wow.
It's a horror movie that it's not a slasher movie by any stretch of the imagination, but it's very imaginative. It's got some great performances, and you believe it. I mean,
and here's
no
CGI?
not
Okay.
very much
Hey,
CGI at all.
Here's one thing about that movie that surprised me. It I guess it's a little on the low budget side, but the actor who Office Space,
Oh, what? Ron Livingston?
Ron Livingston is in
My
it,
old poker buddy?
and
Yeah.
that guy is a good actor. He's very versatile. He's good looking. And his star has just never really.
He's kind of a poor man's
He
Charlie
never
Sheen, though,
made
really.
it.
He
He's
kinda
never
doesn't
really
look-
made it, and now he's making horror movies, But I mean, it's like, I know he was one of the love interests in Sex and the City. He was in Band of Brothers.
Yeah, he was good in Band of
He had a great part in, what's that William H. Macy movie? The Cooler. He had a good part in The
Yeah, he
Cooler.
was great in The Cooler. Yeah.
Oh man, Maria Bello.
Yeah, she looked good in that.
Yeah.
Woof.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, I also liked Lily Taylor. Hadn't seen her in anything since
Say
Say Anything.
from 6 Feet
Oh,
Under.
that's The
Yeah.
Conjuring. That's The Conjuring.
Yeah,
Okay.
Lily Taylor did
I
a
remember.
great
Yeah.
job
was
in that.
it.
I
Last
was like,
time I saw
dang.
her was in 6 Feet Under 10 years ago.
Exactly.
Last time I saw her was in a movie about 8 years ago where she was a married woman who got divorced and then fell in love with a woman. And it
Oh,
was-
yeah?
And I didn't know that was the plot when I watched it.
And
It
you're
might
like,
be a good movie.
bonus. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
She
cool.
did a really good job in it too, and
Yeah.
Vera, whatever her name is, Formaggio, or I always think it's like Cheese. Her last name's Cheese, Formaggio or something. I don't know what her last name is.
Vera from Farghese or
Something like that. Yeah, Fugazi. I don't know. It's not her name, but we're gonna get that wrong.
Well, I've seen
but
one
she's
that
really
you
good in
haven't
it too.
seen, and that you both haven't seen, and you and I have got one that we share.
Yeah.
Dallas.
I
the
saw Dallas Buyers
Buyers
Club. I've
yeah.
talked about it a little bit. McConaughey, just as we talked before, his career's just taken a total left turn for the better, and just an excellent performance in this because he doesn't play a likable guy. He's not a likable guy in this movie. But because of his mission and what he's trying to do, he kind of becomes it's very anti-hero.
Yeah.
And you kind of are pulling for him at the end. And, based on a true story about a guy in Dallas or in Texas who got AIDS in the 80s because he was screwing everything that walked. And, can't get the drugs. And, the drugs they're getting, that they were giving to people back then were very dangerous. And he finds out about it. So he finds alternative methods from druggists in Mexico. And he would get them in Mexico and then bring them to the United States. And it's him dealing with the Fed and all this kind of garbage that they're trying to come down on him. And he creates this thing called the Dallas Buyers Club, to where he says, that's how he got away with it. I'm not selling drugs. I'm selling a membership into my club, and they get free drugs. And that was kind of how he got away with it for the most part, during the times he was getting away with it.
All right,
The performances were great. Jennifer Garner, not those kind of drugs. I know. Jennifer Garner was in it. She's an interesting actress, and I don't think she's pretty. She's cute.
Yeah.
She suffers a little bit from Renee Zellweger stuff, where he looks like she just bit into a sour apple.
She always kind of has a mannish look. She's kind of mannish,
but she's
she's got a
excellent
great
in this movie.
body.
She's very likable.
Bee
She's
sting
very
face?
good. Yeah,
Yeah.
bee sting face. She's very likable, very good in this movie, and her character requires range, and she does it. She pulls it off. And there's a couple other people in it that are escaping me now, but it's a good cast. It's a good story. It's a hard to watch movie, but the story is so good and the acting is so good. I will watch that movie again.
Yeah.
So I thumbs up to me on Dallas Buyers Club.
I'll have to watch it. We haven't watched it yet. Been wanting to.
Speaking of McConaughey, him and Woody Harrelson are in a
True
I know, I
Detective.
haven't watched it yet.
amazing,
It's a great show.
amazing
You
show
caught up?
on HBO. I just watched episode 4
Yeah.
the other night, and this is a phenomenal show.
It's a great show.
I mean, and both of them are just incredible. But the time warp thing, the way that they use the time is an unusual tactic, in this show. But moving back and forth between him having long hair and the whole biker look,
Yeah.
and then very
Clean
prim
cut,
and proper and shaved. But that's the least of the great things about the performer.
Yeah.
I mean, he plays a really
Interesting guy.
sullen, depressed, dark.
Antisocial, just
Really?
anti-people.
Yeah, I've
really.
got it. They're on my DVR. I just haven't watched
Yeah.
them yet.
And did you know? Okay, so I'm a technical guy from filmmaking side of things. Did you notice that in episode 4, the last 6 to 8 minutes is all one take?
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. I was
I
like
like
3
to do
minutes
that.
into it, and I was like, wait a minute, like, is this all one take? And I watched it and I backed it up and I watched it. I was like, holy crap, it was awesome. You know the talk.
Pretty
I don't want
tense.
to ruin the scene, but
pretty tense.
yeah,
scene.
very tense scene, very well done.
Yeah.
I was just like, damn, just
that little section of it, I that takes place in Beaumont, and I have a little bit of a hard time believing
It was filmed in
that,
Shreveport. I've looked it up. It's
well,
filmed in
but I mean,
Shreveport.
I'm just having a little bit of a hard time believing that kind of what would happen in Beaumont. Another thing too, another very serious inaccuracy is he keeps talking about that he worked in South Texas when he's really referring to the Houston area. I'm from South Texas, and
That's called the Valley. Houston's
yeah.
considered South Texas.
yeah, I mean, when anybody brings South Texas up, it's like, okay, where are you really talking about? Let's talk about South Texas.
Okay, so you've seen two that we haven't seen. You've
Yep.
seen Gravity and American Hustle. So give us a synopsis.
I
of
really
those.
wanted to see Gravity because
Me too, but
those guys on the show that I was telling you about, the radio show, everybody said it was a very good movie.
Gravity is a very good movie. It's very well made. Technically, I'm a big fan of the director, Alfonso Cuarón. I liked the other movie he did. I can't think of the name of it right now, but it had
that actor in it.
that actor in it with those people. Yeah.
And they said those things.
Yeah. But this, I mean, just technically
Didn't
it's
he do Babylon or
no.
Babel?
Yeah, he did Babel. Yeah, which was really good.
Okay.
But I mean, technically it's a really good movie. I wasn't expecting, there's a little twist in the first 30, 40 minutes I wasn't expecting. And it's really a performance movie. I mean, it's really not about the overall story as much as it is about the character study and that person.
Yeah.
And I was never really a big fan of
George Clooney and Sandra Bullock.
Yeah, I'm not really a big fan of Sandra Bullock, but she does a good job in the movie. But would I watch it again? It's a kind of a one watcher, and it is impressive. I would have liked to have seen it in 3D. I didn't see the 3D version of it, but I imagine that the 3D is very effective in how they use it. It's not kitschy, or it's not not the cheesy gimmicky thing. It's just there's so much dealing with space and the situation that I could see it being interesting and unique.
21 grams.
21 grams. Yeah.
That's a great movie. I like that.
He did. There's another one too. Let me look it up real quick. But
that director, Del Toro,
Guillermo del Toro.
Guillermo del Toro, and another guy. All three of them broke out from Mexican movies. They made Mexican movies, and then they're over here making great American movies. But
Children of Men was the other one I was thinking.
Oh yes, that's a great movie.
Great flick.
With what's his name?
The guy that I thought should have been Bond, Clive Owen.
Clive Owen, yeah. But Guillermo del Toro made a great horror movie / fantasy movie called Pan's Labyrinth.
Pan's Labyrinth.
And then
awesome.
he made another movie before that takes place during the same time period, the Spanish Civil War, called The Devil's Backbone.
I love that movie.
Which is a really good movie. And so he's definitely a horror movie guy.
Yeah. And he's had kind of, a lot of people think, oh, he's this new big director. He's been making movies in America for a while. They just didn't really do all that hot. Like he did Mimic, which I thought was a pretty solid movie.
Oh, okay.
He also did the Hellboy stuff.
His first American movie was Kronos. Have you seen that?
Yeah, Kronos was great.
I haven't, but they say that it's a really good movie.
Yeah, it's a good flick too. Yeah, he's knocked it out of the park. Alfonso Cuarón also did Y Tu Mama Tambien.
Y Tu Mamá Tambien was the movie that made his name, but there's another director that made a movie in Mexico, won Best Picture, foreign language picture called Amores Perros, or I don't know how you dog like love is the way.
Yeah, Amores Perros is a good movie. That's a hard watch though.
So it's three directors from Mexico, and they're all really making pretty fine work. A lot better than the.
I can't even say that guy's name. Alejandro Gonzalez.
He's got the Basque name.
Yeah.
Inurritia or something.
Yeah.
Can I see that?
Yeah.
I'll be able to say it. Iñárritu.
Okay.
Yeah. What did he make?
Let's see here. The other one I saw was American Hustle, and I actually liked that one a lot. It had a very 70s feel to it in not only the way that, obviously the style of the movie, the sets and the clothing and everything, but it actually felt like it was made in the 70s. Had kind of an early Scorsese feel to it, and it's not a Scorsese movie at all. So he did. That guy did Beautiful, the one with. That was pretty recent. Javier Bardem,
the Spanish guy. Yeah.
Babel. He's the one that did Babel.
He did Babel.
21 Grams.
Yeah.
September 11th, Powder Keg, Amores Perros. Quite a few.
He made him. Yeah, that's a great movie. It's if you get a chance to see it, check it out.
You're plowing through your cigar.
I think these guys were a little on the dry side.
Mine's spongy as hell.
Yeah, mine's feeling good.
Well, Brandon and I watched a movie this week, not together, but we watched it, and I want to talk about this one because this has some dialogue.
Interesting.
It needs some dialogue. It's called Her with
Joaquin Phoenix.
Olivia Wilde, Nate's buddy.
Same guy that made Being John Malkovich and something else.
Yeah,
but
he makes weird movies.
Scarlett Johansson.
Spike
and
Jonze.
Spike Jonze. Yeah.
This was his first directorial.
He also did that one with he pissed off George Clooney making. What was that one? It was a war movie. I forget what it's called. It was a good flick too, though.
He made a war movie?
Yeah, he made a war flick.
So anyway, Her is Joaquin Phoenix, Scarlett Johansson in voice, sexy voice too.
I never really realized it until I heard her in that movie.
She needs to cut down. She needs to cut down on the cigarettes. I heard a clip
I
of
like
the movie.
Low voice women. I dig it.
And she is. I think her voice is lower than mine now. And
my ex-wife had a low voice. Almost every chick on my top 20 list has a low voice. But anyway, he's a loner kind of guy. He's just gone through a divorce, or he's in the process of going through a divorce. He's got the divorce papers. He just won't sign them. And he works for this was an interesting concept for the company he works for. I wonder if they are people that do this. Like say you wanted to write a love letter to your wife, but you're not good at writing. So you would hire this company, give them some background, and then they would write this letter, and then sign your name, and it looks like very well. No, but this is more intimate details about your letter and stuff. And so he's very computer oriented, and he buys this new operating system, and it's Scarlett Johansson. And you can pick a male or a female operating system, and he picks a female. Names her. She decides to name herself Samantha. It's very artificial intelligence like. Jump on in.
Yeah, and I mean, he plays a broken man. He's out of a relationship. He's in love with this woman. Never thinks he's gonna ever love again.
Yeah,
ends up basically falling for the
with the
OS.
operating system.
Yeah, because it basically treats him like
it's gotten
nobody.
rave reviews.
Yeah.
And I've heard all about.
Treats him
a
better
lot
than
about
any
it.
other person treats him in his life, basically, and recognizes him as a person rather than just letting him be the guy that you work with.
Yeah, and she kind of brings out a spontaneity in him, and things that things that have died inside of him have come back to life. And he's got a friend and neighbor who apparently he dated in college once or twice, Amy Adams. They dumbed her down, look very much so, but she's still look cute.
It's funny. I watched American Hustle and her like back to back, like in a couple of days. Yeah. She is smoking hot in American Hustle, and I never really had a thing for her until that movie. And then I saw her in her. I was like, wow. Yeah. She looks just so plain vanilla.
Yeah, no makeup, wearing ugly clothes. Those clothes were ugly. Everything she wore was ugly.
She's super talented and super cute. The first time I saw her was in this really good, but will not see again movie about she's a nun, and she works in a boys' school, a private school, and
that one with Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yes, she has suspicions that Philip Seymour Hoffman is molesting the boys.
Yeah, that's a good flick.
Anyway, speaking of that, that's a great loss for us. Because I was a big fan of Philip Seymour Hoffman. I will never forget. I mean, this is how good I think of an actor he was. I saw Scent of a Woman, which was his breakthrough. He plays one of the bad kids in Scent of a Woman, and I never forgot him from that point on. And that movie was in, 92, 93?
Yeah, something
and
like
I never forgot him from that point on. And
he was in everything. I mean, he's in Big Lebowski. He just doesn't
he's
really
in the Big
think
of
about
course.
it.
Yeah, he's the funny sidekick in something about what's the name of that movie with Ben Stiller?
Along Came Polly.
Along Came Polly. Yeah. He's the funny sidekick that Every time they're playing basketball, he yells, "Let it rain," and it's way off. You know. And
he did a movie that I think not many people saw, but I actually saw
Happiness?
it on the recommendation of other. No, I liked Happiness a lot though. It's a good.
That's-
That's a hard movie to get
woof.
through. Yeah. But another one I was
wow.
thinking of is called Before the Devil Knows You're Dead.
I saw that one too
And,
with Ethan Hawke.
Yeah, that was a good flick. And,
Yeah,
you know,
that was
he played a heroin addict in
that
that.
was
So I was like,
that one's
Yeah.
hard to watch.
yeah,
you
but
know.
it's a well-made movie though.
First Amy Adams movie I saw was Junebug. Was that the one? And she
Yeah.
got nominated for Academy Award. Well, I mean, I'd seen her on The Office, and then that's the
First one I
I'd
saw
seen
her in was that goofy love story fantasy one where she's like a cartoon character or something. What the hell was that?
I don't remember. But anyway, but back to her, because there's some points to talk about in that. It's just, it's kind of a morality play on how we're really so tied up into our machines and
Technology,
and how it's detracting from actual human interaction.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, it's there's even a scene in there where they're so involved that she wants to actually get someone to help them become closer.
Wow.
So they hire a surrogate, and he's like,
So he
"I don't
can
want to
have sex.
sleep with a whore." And she's like, "Well, no, she's not. You're not paying her anything. She's just so involved in our love story that she wants to be a part of it." And he's like, "How the hell does she know about this?" You know, and it's just that she went back behind his back, and she's you start to kind of realize the scope of what she is, because she's an OS system, and he thinks it's all for him. It's like, oh, this is just me and
This is
her,
his personal
but really,
computer blow up doll. basically.
everybody has this
So-
OS system, you
Yeah.
know, so it's a big wider scope than
Right,
what he's thinking.
Yeah, and there's the dynamic with him and Amy Adams is that she has this overbearing husband, and she falls in love with her OS as well.
Oh,
Enchanted,
really?
Enchanted
Yeah,
is the one I saw. Yeah.
Oh, Enchanted, yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's an interesting movie. It's got great performances all around. Olivia Wilde has only a small part in it, but that was an interesting part of the movie as well.
Yeah, I mean, just the way she turned on a dime, I was like,
it's
damn,
wow,
just
no wonder he went back to the computer.
I know.
Yes,
But yeah, so we both enjoyed her. I would definitely recommend you watch it. It's very much a character study, but it's also there's a lot of really great dialogue in there, and it's stuff that I was like, damn, I wish I'd written that, or it's just
Yeah, there was a
I saw
line. What was
I
that
saw
one
another
line?
movie that Spike Jonze made that had Jim Carrey in it, but I can't remember which one that is. And it wasn't Jim Carrey did not play a funny guy. But
Eternal Sunshine? No, that wasn't
Yep.
him. Wasn't it
Eternal Sunshine is
I
Spotless
love that
Mind.
movie.
It's a
One of the
great
greatest
movie.
movies.
That is really my favorite
And,
non-comedy Jim Carrey
Yeah,
movie.
mine too.
he Spike Jonze makes some pretty. He's got some very imaginative. I mean, he's pretty talented.
Yeah, he
when
did
it comes to-
adaptation as well.
I remember the line. There was a line in this because we mentioned the great dialogue. The thoughts that they give you. It was something along the lines of, and it might have been in one of the letters he wrote or whatever. But once someone's in your life for any period of time, they leave a mark, and it just depends on how big that mark is and how often you'll go back to that moment and stuff. It was really, I thought, a very
It was
poignant.
poignant.
Line. It was
I like
that's
the one too where he talks about he thinks he's felt every feeling he's gonna feel, and every feeling now is just basically a shadow of that feeling.
Yeah,
It's
I like that one too.
that
I
was
just really
cool.
got chills when he said that. I was
Yeah.
like, oh wow.
Yeah,
I
it's
can
like,
relate
I've
to that.
been there, yeah,
done that.
Yep.
But
So, what else is on the best movie list?
American Hustle. So I didn't really get into that, but I liked that movie a lot. We're gonna go a little long in this segment. That's no big deal. But because it did have that '70s feel, but also very performance driven.
Yeah.
Great performance from Christian Bale, and I think he's been kind of phoning it in lately. So for me, for him to put out a performance like that, I thought was really good.
Cool.
There's a surprise little guest in the middle of the movie that has a very intense scene that's just like you're gonna feel so uncomfortable when you see this scene. It's really great though.
Damn it, I didn't want to see that, but I'm gonna have to watch.
And I wasn't a really big fan of Jennifer Lawrence. I know a lot of people think she's like the bee's knees, but she does a really good job in that movie.
I think she's a great actress.
She's very talented.
But when they talk her like one of the hottest women list, I just go, no, she's cute, maybe.
Okay, I have something to talk about that is it's connected to that in some way, but it's way off topic. Maybe in the next segment. But what else is on the list? And let's see if-
12 Years a Slave, which I've
Okay.
seen. So you guys have
I
seen
heard
Captain
I heard
Phillips
that
and
was
Dallas Buyers.
pretty brutal.
It is very brutal, and that's another one too that very old school filmmaking. I let my daughter see it because I read the thing on like is it good for kids and stuff, and there is some nudity in it, but it's not sexually related. It's like the slaves are nude and they're like talking about this guy's really good shape, blah blah blah, that kind of thing. But I wanted her to see it because I wanted her to know a little bit more about the history than what they tell you at school.
Right.
And it is very brutal. But there's some scenes in there that remind me of movies from like the 60s where the director just lets the actor act. And there's about a 2-minute segment where the main character is just, there's a realization, he realizes something, and it's just the shot of him looking and going through his thoughts and like, shit, this is happening, and then he's looking over here and you can see his mind working, and he looks up at the sun, he's taking in the sun. My daughter's like, she stops and she goes, is this the movie? She's like, what's going on? I'm like, just watch the movie.
There's no talking.
Yeah, she's like, I don't understand. Why is this? I'm like, it's just, can't you see what he's going through, the emotions and everything? I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's what it's about.
That's a scene that, just your description. There's a scene in Cool Hand Luke when his mom dies.
Yeah.
And he plays the banjo and he sings that song, and then he stops. And everyone's looking at him, and the camera's on him, and his face he makes like 14 different expressions.
Yeah, and that's what the scene. I mean, it's a total Oscar bait scene, but and you can see it as that. But in lieu of the rest of the film, it works. And there's a couple of scenes like that, and there's one that's really uncomfortable. And it's, again, carried on longer than you think it would need to be. But it's very effective that it was let go that long.
Yeah.
And, it's just not the traditional quick cut, snap, everything's got to go fast kind of movie. It's a very deliberately paced film. And it's very good. I mean, everybody does great performances in it. Paul Giamatti's in a small part, but he's very, poignant in the role that he plays. He's a good actor.
One of the, in my, I mean, who am I to say? But one of the great actors working right now. Absolutely. Working right now is Michael Fassbender.
Michael Fassbender knocks it out the park. I mean, you fucking hate the guy in this movie.
Yeah, he's the bad guy. I saw him recently in a movie called Shame, where he plays a sex addict, and he is amazing in that movie.
That movie is a hard watch, but it's a good movie.
And that guy just pisses me off because you get to see his package, in that movie, and it's like, okay. In Inglourious Bastards, he's in that, and he speaks perfect German. Okay, Fassbender. He's an English actor, but obviously some of the lineage is German. All right, very good looking guy. On top of everything else, this guy's got this gigantic penis.
Yeah, it's true.
And it's just
true.
It's like, what else can this? I mean, come on.
Yeah, how lucky can one guy be, right?
Break,
I saw Shane before my wife did, and I was like, you got to see this movie. It's like, this is like epic, acting and just really well written and stuff. And she got like into that scene. She's like, holy crap! Is that like?
Is that a prosthetic?
Yeah, like no, that's all him. Lucky son
Michael
of a bitch.
Fassbender is fantastic, and almost everything I've seen him in, he has been
even
very,
in the
very
goofy,
good.
Superhero stuff like X-Men. He brings a level of
Oh, I didn't know he was in.
Yeah, he's in the First Class. He plays Magneto in the new X-Men movies. So
I don't watch little kid movies.
Yeah, I have kids. I have to watch them. Man, I kind of enjoy it.
We're lucky we don't have to watch those movies.
So we are I'm almost in the last third here. So wrap up on the cigar, second, third. Still got a lot of power. I think it's mellowed a little bit.
It's not complex enough for me to be like, blown away, but I do love the flavor. I just think it's just awesome.
The flavor has come around for me a lot. But I like this cigar, but I just don't find it to be incredibly complex.
Which isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Along the same lines of what you guys were saying about Arturo Fuente, you're what you're getting from the Fuente group, but you can't judge a cigar by just one smoke.
True, yeah. Sure. I think you do have to smoke quite a few of them. So we're going to take a little break, and we'll come back for the last third of the Dissident Soap Box.
And Pedro's story about Brian Setzer.
Yes, sir. Be right back. All right, we're back for the last third of the Dissident Soap Box Rave. And
Rave.
I'm in the last third.
We talked more. Oh, shit. That's the first cuss word tonight. Although we did hear package a lot.
And penis. But that's not really a cuss word.
Okay, so I was just going to bring this one quick thing up.
You're going to get on your...
Yeah, we're talking... I keep seeing... I have never been a big fan of Drew Barrymore. I don't think that she's talented.
Pedro's getting on his soapbox.
Which is appropriate.
And she hasn't been, maybe she's been in something that I just
She's
didn't
in that roller
don't know
derby
about.
movie a couple of years ago.
But I haven't, she hasn't been in any movies recently, but yet she keeps making the covers of lots of magazines as a beautiful woman. Mm-hmm. And she's not even that. And I don't get it.
I think in her early 20s she was kind of hot.
She did not belong in the Charlie's Angels. She was the least hot of the three.
I don't know. Wasn't Lucy Liu one of the Charlie's Angels?
Yeah.
I'm not a big Lucy Liu fan.
She's pretty good looking.
But she's first of all, she's Hollywood royalty.
Yeah,
she's from the Barrymore family tree.
And she produces a lot, so she's in the business.
He's just not that into you. She produced that, and that was a huge moneymaker.
Right, but why is she on the cover of as a beauty icon? That's my point.
Well, Jennifer Lawrence. I mean, you know.
She's a lot better looking than Drew Barrymore.
No, I'd take Drew Barrymore over her.
Agree to disagree and throw up.
Hey, when she was in that Amy Fisher, was Amy Fisher that?
Yeah, the Amy
when
Fisher.
She was in that Amy Fisher movie. I thought she looked great in that movie, but she hasn't aged very well.
She's cute.
She's
the extent
cute,
of it.
See? And maybe Jennifer Lawrence is cute.
Jennifer Lawrence has a nice rack.
Yeah, she hasn't shown them, so how do we know?
Yeah, they look very nice, from what I can see.
And besides, I saw her in the Bill Engvall show, so I still think of her as like a 15-year-old.
Yeah.
I'm still not used to her being.
I never saw the Bill Engvall show, so
nobody else
you got
did
me on
either.
that. Yeah, I don't think it lasted that long.
I watched the Bill Engvall show. But
so tell us the story real quick.
Oh, okay. Well, so I think that a while back we spent some time in a podcast talking about that Gibson is coming out this year with a commemorative copy of my dad's guitar, a Gibson Super 400, and along with trying to promote that, there's a vintage guitar collector who has been helping me, and he is in cahoots with Gibson, but he got me in touch with Brian Setzer's manager, and the point of it was that Brian Setzer came into town just before Christmas. He does a Christmas tour, and they do lots of Christmas tunes, with his big band. And so this all happened very quickly. I mean, with like 3 days before the show, I was in touch, and I said, can I? So and so told me to get in touch with you and see if Brian would like to take a look at my dad's guitar. And he's like, yeah, absolutely, we'll get you tickets and everything. And he goes, how many tickets do you want? And I said, well, I want 8. And the guy wrote back saying, he was like, that's a lot.
Couldn't ask for 10?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I actually, I did ask to see if he wanted to do a podcast. I don't know if I told you that.
That would have been cool that Brian said.
And they said he's not doing any podcasts or anything like that. So what happened was I got my dad's guitar and I went to the show. The family came. But I think what initially happened is that they wanted only me to go back there because they wanted to make sure I was on the up and up,
Mm-hmm.
So I went back with the guitar, and I met him, and the Stray Cats hit it big in 1981 or 1982. Mm-hmm. I mean, right around the time my dad passed away. So it was really, I guess,
disappointing.
No, I just it made a big connection with me for the rest of my life. Mm. That music, the Stray Cats sounded very similar to the Comets, and I've always had that. I've always had great admiration for Brian Setzer because he is a legitimately good. No, scratch that. He's a great guitarist, great musician, and so I met him, and he's a small guy, and but he, his hair, his pompadour makes up about half of his height.
Yeah.
But he was really, really nice, and I showed him the guitar, and he was really, really impressed, and he said, "Can I play it tonight?" And I said, I didn't really expect that. I said, I don't think that it's in good condition for you to play. It's been in my mom's closet for 30 years. Mm. But Brian Setzer had a guitar tech, and the tech looked at it, and he's like, "Yeah, I think I can get it set." And I said, "Knock yourself out, go for it. You can play Rock Around the Clock and shake, rattle, and roll, and maybe see you later, alligator, if you guys can fit it in," because I knew that his band could probably pull those off. Yeah. So then I went and sat down. The whole family was there. We even dragged my mom out. She was very, very skeptical. Mm-hmm. And so he went through his routine, his first part of the gig, which was just a lot of. He started with the theme music to Hawaii 5-0, and then he did a lot of Christmas tunes, and then he closed. The big band left the stage except for a sax player. So it was just the drums, slap bass, Brian, and the sax player, and then the tech brought out the guitar, and Brian made the announcement that I had come and let him. I lent him the guitar to play, and that it was a real surprise, and just an important moment. And
He called it the guitar that started rock and roll.
yes, he did. Yeah, that's right. And so they broke out with Rock Around the Clock, and they nailed it. I mean, just absolutely nailed it. He
messed up on the first verse.
Yes,
bit.
that was it. But the kicker for me as a guitarist, was that he just nailed the solo.
He annihilated
Rock
it, man.
Around
He
the
just
Clock.
killed
I mean,
it. It
he
was
just nailed it.
Yeah, awesome.
And when he was playing it, when he started playing the solo, the guitar, it sounded just like the recording from 1954, and the look on his face is that he looks over to the bass player and he kind of mouths, "Oh my God," because he's playing the solo and it sounds just like the recording, the 60 some odd year old recording, and he nails the solo. And they do play that, and then they played Shake, Rattle, and Roll. And after the show, they let the whole family come backstage, because after that they realized that I was who I said I was,
Right.
and we all went back there. My sister, my cousin, there was about 8 of us, like I said, and he was very pleasant and congenial and really sweet. And my mom came out of her shell and started telling him some stories about her and Dad touring, and they spent some time. And she became a chatty Cathy and started talking. And then that was it. He gave us the guitar back, and he thanked us very much, profusely. Was very, very he felt very privileged to have played the guitar, and he was really excited. And that was it, And then the very next day, there was a lot of chatter on the internet.
His Facebook page blew up.
Yeah,
with it.
about him playing. The first thing was that he played a Gibson, because he's a Gretsch guy, because of his hero Eddie Cochran. Eddie Cochran played a Gretsch, but. Also, there were photographs, and then we put up a video of the actual recording of the performance.
And there's 2 of them real quick. There's 2 of them on there that says Brian Setzer, Bill Haley. Watch the 5-minute version. That's the one where he does the introduction, and you get to see the full versions of Rock Around the Clock and Shake, Rattle, and Roll. So pull up the 5-minute version, not that minute and 42 whatever version.
Right, yeah.
And it's only got 700 and something views. Let's get that up over 1,000, guys. Come on.
Yeah, no kidding.
Check that out.
But it was.
I've probably watched it 15 times. I'm not lying. I've probably watched it 15 times.
I'm with you.
I was really, really pleased. I mean, I've had a lot of respect for him since the 80s. When he had the big hit in the 90s with that Louis Prima song, Jump, Jive, and Wail, and he started doing the big band thing, I thought it was it's very weird, because I consider my dad's career kind of a connection between this big band swing era and then rock and roll.
The early days of rock and roll.
And Brian is actually doing the reverse. He has gone back to playing in a big band. He's got a big band sound, but he breaks down into a small rock and roll combo of bass, drums, and him playing guitar and singing. And for this particular performance, because of the sax that my dad had, he had the sax player in there. But it was all in all, it was a great moment, and made me feel very proud. And it was just nice to see that. And I mentioned I said thank you in an email to his agent, and I said if Brian ever wanted to to use the guitar on an eventual recording or anything like that. All I had to do was ask, and they said that he'd pass it along to Brian, and we'll see what happens.
That's
so that
awesome.
was.
Speaking of how great Brian sounded on the guitar solo, I thought that sax guy was awesome on Shake, Rattle, and Roll. It sounded like the record. It was amazing how good that sax guy was on that record.
And
on that
what
performance.
happened too was that when they played Rock Around the Clock and they finished, the sax player started walking off stage, and Brian Setzer started playing Shake, Rattle, and Roll. And I mean, I know that these guys didn't play the song as part of the set; they did this for that night.
Right.
And he nailed it.
Yeah.
I mean, just nailed it. I know that when I walked away and got into my seat, they were probably YouTubing the song to make, and they just went over it one time.
Yeah.
And then went on stage and covered it and nailed it.
Yeah,
and
it's awesome.
and it was it just, that's the sign of great talent and true professionalism.
Yeah, true musicianship.
So yeah, it was a great thing, and for as a small guy that he is, he's about, I'd say he's 5 feet 6 inches tall, and my dad's guitar looked like it was huge.
Looked like he was playing a stand-up.
He looked like he was playing a bass.
Yeah, it was huge. Yeah.
But he made it sound really, really good, and it was a real pleasure, to see somebody that who knows who my dad is and appreciates the music and played it great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just few and far between where you get a chance to hear that.
Okay.
Well, I know you're not on Facebook, so I have to tell you this story real quick. I mean, you're on Facebook, but you don't get on it that much. I posted it on Facebook, the 5-minute version.
Okay.
And Jeff Hirschauer, one of our buddies, he said he commented something along the lines of a rock legend playing a rock legend's guitar must have been an honor for the Haley family.
Yeah.
Pop,
It was.
my buddy that I want you to meet, who's
Yeah.
dying to meet you, said, "No, what an honor for Setzer." And I
Yeah.
thought that was a great line
Yeah.
too. So it was
Yeah.
very cool.
Well, he felt that. Brian Setzer definitely felt that way. I mean, it was definitely his honor to do that, and it was just a great treat. And it could have nothing like this could have ever happened without the help of this gentleman.
Who's in South Texas, right?
He's in South Texas, otherwise known as Houston. But he shall remain nameless. He's the vintage guitar community is an unusual thing. Whenever a guitar that belonged to somebody famous is, word gets out that it's for sale, rarely do these things ever make it to auction.
Right.
Because there are so many people that will just snap this up for a lot of money.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
And he's one of these guys, but none of these things will ever make it to auction. None of this Pawn Stars type stuff. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. What a hell of a memory, man.
That was awesome.
Jeez.
Well, that was so cool, Pedro. We were very proud for you, and
I was just the courier.
yeah, but still,
But yeah, absolutely. What can I say about it? It's just the guitar sits in my mom's closet for 30 years.
he makes it sing.
And
Yeah,
then
big
the
time.
guitar just it sounds. I was just so surprised at how good it sounded.
Yeah. Yeah.
There were some places at times where he would play something that was a little bit on the high register, that was a little out of tune. So the guitar needs some work, but what can you expect for a guitar that was built in 1956 and has sat in a closet for 30 years?
Yeah. Well, like you said, I think you said this off mic, but you said the instruments are like living things. Mm-hmm. And that's definitely a true testament to that,
And so your dad played this guitar for 24 years too, so it's it's seen a lot of action.
It's the last instrument that he played for sure. I mean, that was the last concert he played. That was the instrument he was playing, and he got it as a gift from Gibson for a movie called Rock Around the Clock.
Did he sing the title song to that?
Yes, he
Okay,
did.
yeah,
Yeah,
I thought he might have.
And it was so brand new that in the movie, if you look at clips of the movie, the guitar is in the movie. It's brand new. It's in great shape, and there's no pickup. This guitar it's an acoustic guitar. It's a big jazz style guitar, and normally you would put a microphone in front of it. But my dad liked to put this is getting kind of techie, but a de-armament type of pickup is what it's called.
Yeah.
And in the movie, the guitar is just he just got it that he hasn't even gotten the pickup put on it.
Oh, really? Wow.
So he's in the movie, he's playing this guitar and it's not even it's not even
plugged in
hooked
or
up.
anything.
It's not plugged in at all.
Okay, so that was probably the first time that solo had ever been played on that guitar, right?
Because
your dad never played the solo, did he?
I doubt it. I bet you somebody through the years has probably played it, just picked it up and started playing.
But I meant
it,
on stage.
Yeah, because my dad was a rhythm guitarist.
Yeah, he never played the solo.
And he didn't play the solo on Rock Around the Clock. That goes to Danny Cedron, who is he made it into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And the Hall of Fame has his guitar.
Really?
The guitar that played the solo on Rock Around the Clock. But but the thing is that recording, the original recording, the solo, the guitar used for the solo was a Gibson L7, which is very similar to the Super 400. And so when Brian played it, the reason he was stunned that it sounded just like the recording because the instruments are practically the same, you know, from the same era and everything.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, definitely check it out if you guys haven't.
Yep,
It's
the
a
5-minute
must
version.
watch on YouTube.
Yep. And we've got a ton of shout-outs.
We do have some shout outs, yeah.
So pardon us, Pedro. We are going to do some shouting out here.
Yes.
Okay, from Facebook. A lot of Facebook hits this week. Jeff Hirschauer, of course, from Cincinnati, our hero. Quincy Washington. Michael Hunter. Gene Wotan, who has actually been on our show. He was at one of our events. So he's a regular customer. Davis Howell, who's one of our regular guests. Mitch Hostat is back. He had, used to comment a lot, and now he's back. David Good. Johnny Lanzillo is another one of our customers. Richard Woodiel, who is a friend of mine that I didn't know listened to the show, but apparently he does. Mark Reichenbach and Bill DeLuca.
All right.
Twitter. A guy named Jonathan Drew is following me. I don't know who that is, but thank you, Mr. Drew. It's not following Brandon.
Yeah, sad. Tear.
He'll follow him. Philip Mobley at Big Phil 66. Scott C. He doesn't have a last name. Oh, the great Jose Blanco tweeted me today. Chris Baez, other side. The Full Pint, nice. The Oklahoman 95. Big Cohiba. Big Win. Tobacco Hut. Of course, Blind Man's Puff. And our buddy Nate Rowland. And then from YouTube, Eddie Stogie fan, of course. Kurt from Poolside Cigar Reviews, of course. Ryan Dizzle, of course. He's on air all the time now. And Desert Smoke Review. That's my shout-outs.
And I got some Twitter shout-outs here. Rebellious Cigar.
Nice.
Avanti Cigar. Lancero Arsonist, which I believe was already following you and the podcast.
That's a great.
It's a great name,
one.
yeah. Adam Jones. Presencia. Not Placencia. Presencia.
Okay.
Zycar Mike. Tranquillo Cigars. Mitchell Hostant.
Yeah,
okay. Stogie Daddy. Miguel Shodell did a couple of retweets for us, and he's the regional sales manager of Toronto. Miguel Rochelle, Sam Lucia did some retweets and shout-outs and stuff for us. Blind Man's Puff, of course. And the big one, Conan O'Brien.
Wow, cool.
Which is now following me on Twitter, which is cool.
Nice.
For Google Plus, we got Greg Kramer, who's a regular. Anthony Tassin, also a regular. They both listened to the show live with Sam Lucia, and we're cracking up. Yeah,
Kelsey and whoever else that girl was.
Gary Griffith from Emilio Cigars, Donald Cosrow, Dan Gum, who's a regular as well, and then Phil Sullivan, who gave us the link for these cigars today.
Thank you, Chicago Phil.
Thank you, Chicago Phil.
Phil from
And
Chicago.
Phil from Chicago.
By
yes.
the way, I'm still on the last third of the cigar, and it has really started kicking in.
It's got a lot of power in the final
Now
third.
this is really got a lot of flavor at the very end.
Well, see, remember the cap was crunchy, and mine started to fall apart here at the end. So I think the end of it was dry. I think the middle part was very moist and very good.
Yeah, mine's not falling apart. It just got a little squishy at the end, but very full-bodied at the end.
Yes.
It went from medium to full.
Yes.
Yeah,
it
so-
did.
A lot of earthy
This has got
pepper,
some flavor
spice.
now,
yeah.
Forget what I said about it not being complex. It did change a lot in this final third.
Yeah, so it's a tasty smoke, and I would definitely smoke it again. And we
Yes,
do have the block.
Phil.
Yeah, we do have the block as well to review, so that'll be coming in a couple of months or a
Yes.
month. Who knows?
I
We got a lot.
make a lot of rounds in the local DFW area cigar shops, and this is definitely not in any that I've seen.
Yeah,
So
they're in about
this is-
60 shops right now, I think is what I've heard. So
Okay.
they're still very, very new, very fresh. And
Yeah.
they're, hey,
We wish
it's a
them
good
luck.
stick, yeah.
Wish them a lot of luck. This is a good stick.
Yeah.
Yep. So as always, check us out on the normal places you can find us: iHeartRadio, iTunes, Podomatic, Spreaker,
Stitcher, YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
Twitter, Facebook.
Give us those comments and those likes, and we'll definitely give you a shout out.
Subscribe any of those places where you can subscribe, like iTunes. Give us a 5-star review and write a review. YouTube, subscribe and give us a comment. Twitter, retweet us, tweet us. You know, if you have questions for us, we respond to everybody that sends us a message. So thank you. On Twitter, anyway.
Yep. So as always, been great smoking with you.